everybody. So I'm here to give my thoughts on the new film on Disney Plus, Hamilton. This is the staging of the 2016 original cast production of Hamilton, the Broadway phenomenon that went on to win the Pulitzer Prize and every prize that you could win, including the Tony Award and all of that fun stuff. I have had the ability to see Hamilton on the stage, not the original cast, of course, the touring company in 2018, and I will leave a link to that review in the description, so you have to check that out. So this filming, obviously, it's had a lot of hype. People are very excited, and I am included in that group. I was very, very excited for it. I loved seeing it in 2018, and so I was really excited to see it with its original cast. And it meant a lot to me because I've been pretty depressed this week with the closing of Broadway. That to me was just very devastating, and I just felt very hopeless. And so to be able to see a Broadway production, one of the best Broadway productions of the last few years, meant a lot to me as just a human, not only as a huge show tunes and Broadway fan. And we didn't get to do our recap of the Tony Awards this year, which I normally do with my friend Hayden, because there was no Tony Awards. But I really love doing that show, and you can look back. I'll put links to that show the last few years, because it's been a really fun way to kind of look back on the best of what Broadway has had to offer, because I don't live in New York, so I don't get to go to the shows, so I don't get to see them on that level. But anyway, I just really felt sad. I'm really concerned for the arts, really worried about what's going to happen and how we can ever recover from something that's as devastating as this. But you look at something like Hamilton and it gives you hope. It gives you hope for the future on so many different levels. And the way that it merges musical styles, I think, is the most impressive. Because when I first saw it, I was a little bit concerned because I'm not that big of a hip hop person. I don't love hip hop music. But what he does that's so brilliant is that he merges the hip hop with traditional Broadway. There are definitely still songs here that feel like a Broadway song, that feel that traditional belt feel to them. And you get other styles of music mixed in here, which is just really, really smart. And I think it makes it very engaging to listen to. You also have different tones throughout the film, and that I think are balanced very well. There's the very silly tones with King George, played by Jonathan Groff, and he is so hilarious in his scenes. And there are nice comic relief from some of the more tense moments that you'd seen just before. And it really is kind of Shakespearean in that way. You also have people putting their spin on these historical figures, which makes them very unpredictable. Obviously, you have the different racial casting, which makes it surprising. But also you have just different styles than what we see as these historical characters, which may or may not be completely accurate, but it makes you think about them in a new way. Particularly Daveed Diggs is playing both Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson. He's so funny in both roles, and kind of just, you think of these characters as so stuffy from history, but they were like real people that still laughed and had flaws. And I mean, we know very publicly like some of their flaws. It helps you kind of take down that, sort of wigged austerity to history, and makes you think of these people as real people that had a variety of emotions and flaws. That's what I really like about what they do. And I think it really encourages you to find out more. It's a jumping off point. And they do include a ton of the actual words from letters and their writings and other things like that. You have really wonderful songs in here that I think are so catchy, even though, like I said, I'm not a hip hop person. The way that it's sort of meshed together with all these other different styles, it makes it really, really work. And I think The Room Where It Happens is probably my favorite song of the whole show. I think that is such a gripping number, and you just start diving in to the moment of this constitutional convention, and it makes it feel really real. I really liked the Schuyler sisters. They are played by Renee Elise Goldsberry and then Jasmine Cephas Jones, who also plays Maria Reynolds later on. And then you see Philippa So, Liza Hamilton. And I just really like their dynamic with the two being in love with Alexander, and the jealousy, the rivalry that you feel from them. I think it really works. I think that you have Leslie Odom Jr. playing Aaron Burr, and you get this real sense of this also rivalry between the two of them, between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, obviously leading up to the duel at the end. I think that Eliza Hamilton, her final song is so devastating but very effective, and it has that traditional Broadway feel. So you're never that far away from traditional Broadway, but it is something different and fresh, and that's a hard balance to pull off, and I think they do that brilliantly here. All the performances are wonderful as far as I'm concerned. I think that you maybe have sometimes where Leslie Odom Jr. is a little bit harder to hear, and they could have upped the sound, I think, a little bit, but they were probably trying to, kind of capture you in that moment. And I think they do a good job of that. I mean, you really get to be in there and see the actors' faces and their sweat and their, something. So it's a different experience than being in the theater, because that's just a different organic experience. But this really gets you like feeling like you're there in those kind of front rows and maybe even closer. And so that's cool too. And I really enjoyed that. And all the costume design, all of the very simple production design, I think is very effective. The way they kind of have sort of this Greek chorus throughout that's sort of there in their simple white to do the chorus in the backgrounds and other things like that is very effective, and it works. It's very simple. And they did cut down on some of the swearing in the show. And so there's just, I think, one F word in this show that I think that is fine, because I don't think it really did anything particularly for the musical, besides making it, I guess, an R-rated musical. It doesn't contribute a lot to the plot, like they have this profanity. A lot of times you hardly even notice that it's there. So you can make the argument, why take it out? That's a valid argument, but they want people to be able to see it and to get that PG-13 rating. So I understand why they did that and why Lin-Manuel agreed to it. That the only time I have a problem with censorship is if it's done without the creator's consent, but in this case it was, so I think it's fine. And so yeah, I really enjoyed watching Hamilton. I think that it's a really fresh new way to look at history. It's a reminder that the theater is powerful. It can take you away from your problems for a couple of hours, that it can make you think about the world in a whole new way. It can make you think about history in a whole new way. And I think that has great power. And so I just loved seeing it in 2018. I loved seeing it here in 2020. It meant a lot to me. And yeah, its flaws are very small, in my opinion. And I think that you should definitely check it out. I think you'll love it. And I think you can watch it as a family and have a great experience. So it definitely does have some adult themes as far as infidelity. And obviously there's murder, there's duels, there's things like that happen, there's war. So you still need to definitely discuss it with your family and talk about some of those themes. But I think that it's definitely something worth watching for both a creative endeavor, and both a creative endeavor, a historical endeavor, and something that that you can talk about its themes and ideas, and it's challenging the way that we had done things before. So all those different reasons, I think it's really important to watch. I think it's super talented. And so, yeah, let me know what you think of Hamilton. Did you really enjoy it, or do you think it's a little overrated? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.